Hi everyone, it's Natalie. I'm one of the librarians at Westlake Porter Public Library. Did you know it is International Beer Day? It sure is. Chosen in 2008, the first Friday in August brings a toast to ales, lagers, pilsners, and all the rest. It was chosen because August is just so hot that people wanted to celebrate cracking open a cold one. So perhaps there's a porter or a Belgian in your glass. Maybe you're not a beer drinker, but you're interested in a road trip to explore some craft breweries. Maybe you'd like to pick up a great work of fiction about breweries, or you'd like to find some hacks for life using old beer bottles or recipes you can cook with beer. I'm here to show you some of our collections here at Westlake Porter Public Library. I'm also going to share some fun facts about beer. For example, one of the books I'm not featuring here, but it's always popular, especially in the juvenile department, is the Guinness Book of World Records. Who hasn't leafed through its pages and thought, I want to get in there someday for doing something bigger, better, or just stranger than everyone else? Well, did you know that the Guinness Book of World Records was conceived by Hugh Beaver, who was the managing director of the Guinness Brewery, yeah, that Guinness, in Dublin, Ireland. It was a way to settle disputes or arguments in the pubs in Ireland. Who knew? The largest brewery in the world is the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, which makes popular beers such as Budweiser and Corona. Many civilizations in antiquity and in medieval times relied heavily on beer because it was the safest available drink, much safer than the water at the time, and it provides many essential nutrients. Can you guess the nation that drinks more beer per capita than any other? It's not the United States, not by a mile actually. The Czech Republic consumes the most beer per capita of any nation in the world. And China consumes the most beer overall. United States is way down on that list, number 10 actually. There's a saying attributed to Czech people, and that saying is that you can judge the quality of a beer at one sip, but why stop there? Beer is the third most popular beverage on earth after water and tea. And when we think of tea drinkers, we think of England, but actually in Great Britain and the United Kingdom, beer is the most popular beverage, with tea second. Those are just some fun facts that I wanted to share about beer with you on International Beer Day. Let's get to the books. This is a fun one called Beer Hacks. 100 tips, tricks, and projects make yourself into a better beer drinker. I would say it could also be titled Make Yourself into a Better Beer Purchaser, because these aren't just hacks for people who like to drink beer. There's all sorts of projects in here, like how to turn an empty beer bottle into a guitar slide. There are ways to infuse beer with different flavors and with household tools like a French press coffee pot. And there are tips to solve problems, such as how do you chill warm beer fast, or how do you open a beer without an opener. This has a sort of a funny and fun sensibility to it, and I think a lot of people would enjoy having this at their home bar, just for people to leaf through and to read a few of these hacks. Not saying they're not useful. I really believe that Ben Robinson did his research and perhaps tried a lot of these projects on his own, but I think you're going to like the fun and flippant tone he writes with. So that's Beer Hacks. That's available in the adult nonfiction section. Another great book, which is a little off the beaten path, a little unusual, is called The Scratch and Sniff Guide to Beer, a beer lover's companion, written by Justin Kennedy and a foreword by Rich Higgins. And this book has scratch and sniff stickers for things like hops or clove or bourbon. But it's not just about the scratch and sniff guide. This book is filled with trivia, with games, with facts. They call it the only beer companion you'll ever need. I'd say it's a great companion to the Beer Hacks book. And you're going to find some lesser known beers and some history about beer and boozy recipes. It's a very easy, fun, readable book in color, and it has games and it has recipes, and it's something that would be a lot of fun. Again, keep at your home bar to leaf through, or a gift for a beer lover in your life. This is a really great book. Again, in our adult nonfiction section. What about the foodies out there, though? You know you're out there, and maybe you'd like to make some recipes with beer. Well, we have a book here called the Craft Beer Cookbook, the American Craft Beer Cookbook. The American Craft Beer Cookbook has 155 recipes from your favorite brew pubs and breweries. It is written by John Hall with a foreword by Garrett Oliver. This is a color cookbook. These are the most famous or well-known or well-loved recipes from some of America's best brew pubs and craft breweries in here. And it's got indices in the back where you can follow beer festivals, breweries by state, and then look up the recipes too. If you look up Ohio, you can find the Great Lakes Brewing Company, which is right in Cleveland, and their recipe for wild mushroom and Edmund Fitzgerald porter stuffing. That sounds really great. And that wild mushroom and Edmund Fitzgerald porter stuffing is described as being hearty and satisfying. It is better than anything that comes in a box. Most recipes are, aren't they? And it's very easy to make. They say that the robust quality of an American porter, like the Edmund Fitzgerald, adds a strong, rich, bready flavor, which is what stuffing needs anyway. And it's got mushrooms and bread and beer and carrots and celery and onions, and it really sounds delicious, especially to stuff a turkey or a chicken. And it says you can even make it vegetarian, and they recommend using soft tofu in it. So what a really great way to celebrate a local Northeast Ohio brewery and to do some cooking. Not all the recipes contain beer in them, though. A lot of them are just the beloved recipes from the brewery. For example, this unusual cauliflower lavender soup. It's from the Upright Brewing Company in Portland, Oregon, and it doesn't contain any of their beer in it, but it is a highly sought after recipe from Upright. That's an example of a recipe that doesn't contain beer. So I think you're going to like this one. There's a lot of interesting facts about the breweries and really delicious recipes from high-end and high skill level to low-end, and something that you could throw together at home. If the idea of travel appeals to you, especially if you don't know about a lot of the microbreweries, craft breweries in the United States of America, we have a travel book called The Great American Ale Trail. And it is described as being a roadmap for taste bud adventure. Doesn't that sound great? Anyone who prizes good beer need never go thirsty again. That's a quote from Jane and Michael Stern of Road Food and NPR. So it's the Great American Ale Trail, the craft beer lover's guide to the best watering holes in the nation by Christian La Benedetti. Americans have finally discovered and really embraced a love for craft beer, and it takes them across the nation. Beer-focused restaurants, bars, microbrewers, beer festivals, and even beer-focused vacations. This guide will help you plan all of those and more. Beer expert and journalist Christian De Benedetti has identified the worthiest places to enjoy great craft beers, from major breweries to farmhouse startups. Featuring more than 400 establishments throughout all the regions of the United States, this is the definitive guide that will inspire anyone to embark on a beer pilgrimage. What's really cool about it is it's got components such as the best of the rest and different places in the state that they focus on that maybe didn't make the guide, but you should still check out, such as restaurants and hotels. It has a feature called Detours, places that are near where you're going to be going and worth a small detour to check out. And a really great tone. You can actually read this like a novel. For example, every single brewery, they have what they call the scene and the story. And that's a few paragraphs that explain the story of the brewery, how it came to be, or the story of the restaurant and how it came to be, and really sets the scene for the best time to go. I think that that makes a travel book much more interesting to read. It doesn't have any color photographs, but you really don't need them. It also has a top 10 list, a glossary, and an index. For example, if we're going to look at the Northeast, meaning Ohio, they feature Cleveland, McNulty's Beer Market on West 25th, and Great Lakes Brewing Company on Market Avenue in Cleveland. And the scene and story is very short. It just says the first microbrewery in the state of Ohio since the last of the old line companies closed in the 1980s. Great Lakes opened in 1998 in a massive Victorian complex. With its antique 1860s Tiger mahogany bar, beer garden with retractable canvas roof, and atmospheric rathskeller below ground, it's a superb spot for an afternoon pint and bite. Doesn't that make you just want to investigate Great Lakes over in Ohio City? This book would be fabulous if you're planning a trip anywhere in the United States. You could pick it up and find some places to stop along your route or in your destination city. It would also make a fabulous gift for any traveling beer lover in your life. I saved my favorite for last. About this last book, I said it reads like a novel. My favorite is a novel. It's called The Lager Queen of Minnesota by J. Ryan Stradall. And J. Ryan Stradall is an author of one of my other favorite novels, a great foodie novel called Kitchens of the Great Midwest. Both of these books, The Lager Queen of Minnesota and Kitchens of the Great Midwest, use coincidence, family stories, and the kind of magic that can only happen when an author creates an amazing connected world. In this book, we follow the family saga of Edith and her sister Helen. Edith's life is very different from Helen's. Edith is working class. She works her entire life doing hard manual labor. However, the pies that she makes put the nursing home she works at on the map. Edith raises her grandchild, her granddaughter, who becomes interested in the brewing business in the unlikeliest of ways. Meanwhile, while all of this is going on, Helen, Edith's sister, unbeknownst to Edith's granddaughter, is the lager queen of Minnesota. She sits on a fortune created when light beers became popular in the 70s and 80s. However, her life has not gone the way she envisioned it. Only a fabulous writer would end up crafting a story like this. I recommend sitting down and reading it with your favorite craft beer or non-alcoholic beverage of choice. Whether you enjoy imbibing, whether you enjoy cooking with beer, learning about history, or visiting the United States of America, I think that you'll find you can celebrate International Beer Day, especially if you make a trip to the library and check out these or any of our other resources. Hope you enjoyed hearing about some of these books, and we hope you enjoy International Beer Day. Come on in, the library is open. We can help you if you give us a call, send us an email, or come in to browse. Thanks, and don't forget to check us out on social media or at westlakelibrary.org. We're eager to help. Have a great day.